The soulful singing of the ancient Israelites is reflected in our churches today because the original Israelites sang with their soul.
See, Daddy, sinners have soul too.
Now, we know that Ray Charles is known as the king or the grandfather of soul music. This is an interview where he's asked about Elvis in his own words.
Let me ask you differently. How good was Elvis? What Elvis did, he caused a lot of the populace, if you want to, and usually when people say populace, they usually mean white people, to start listening to a lot of music that normally they wouldn't have been listening to. I guess I'm going to lose at least about a third of my fans right now. But to say that Elvis was so great and so outstanding, like they say, he's the king. I got in trouble because one guy asked me this question, and I said, the king of what? And he got mad at me. I don't think of Elvis like that because I know too many artists that are far greater than Elvis. I think Elvis was a person came along at the right time, where here was a white kid that could do rock and roll or rhythm and blues or whatever they want to call it, and the girls could swoon over him. And black people been going out shaking their behind for centuries. And what the hell's unusual about their shaking their hips and stuff? And that's all Elvis was doing, was copying that. And he was doing our kind of music. He was doing the Willie Mae Thornton, jailhouse rock. That's black music. So what the hell am I supposed to get so excited about, man?
I wanted to show that interview because it's always good to hear the perspective of people that lived during these times. Because I understand that you can read thousands of books, you can find thousands of sources about what was going on during this time. But it's just refreshing to hear the perspective of people that lived during this time, especially somebody who was as old as Ray Charles. He saw many things during his lifetime. And some people may say that his response to Elvis was harsh. And I personally don't believe that he was attacking Elvis as a person, but attacking the system. Because you have one group of people who created so many different genres of music, but were being oppressed. Because America loved black music, but America did not love black people. Another reason why I showed this is because he actually said something very interesting. He said that black people have been doing this type of music for centuries. He didn't say that black people have been doing this type of music for decades. He said for centuries, hundreds up to thousands of years. Music in Ancient Israel by Alfred Sindri, who lived between 1884 to 1976. Chapter 14, the Hebrew Melody. This chapter covers the siege of Jerusalem that took place in 70 AD. It says, the destruction of the Jerusalem sanctuary by the Romans and the annihilation of the Jewish national state spelled the greatest disaster in the entire history of the Jews. But if the ruined instrumental music of the Jews could never be retrieved, vocal music, fortunately, was spared the same bitter fate. Singing happened to be an inborn urge to the Jews. Its roots penetrated so deeply into the soul of the people that the common fate of the nation could not prevent the individual from expressing and singing his natural sentiments, his sorrow, longing, hope, and trust in God. The line that completely grabbed me by the throat is when it says that it was so deeply penetrated into the soul. When it says that they would sing from their soul, this shows you that soul music is not anything new. Soul music is ancient. And when you read the book From Babylon to Timbuktu, The author, he also covers the siege of Jerusalem, and this is what he says. This is Rudolf R. Windsor that wrote this. He says, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. Despite the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. The original Jews were black, and they fled into Africa to escape Roman slavery, and it says afterward that the slave markets were full of black Jews, which means that the slaves that were sold throughout America and other places during the slave trade were Jews. And you can even argue that Jerusalem was also originally a part of Africa, but that's a whole nother discussion. But the original Jews were black, and as the author said in that other book, they would sing from their soul.
Never possess, no. But while she's there waiting, try just a little bit of tenderness.
And I just wanna be, I wanna get next to you. He makes me feel so high.
I see a lot of dispute about what did black people do before slavery. Well, here it says Judaism was the religion of the ancient Africans for a long time.